What's up, vape fam? Sorteal here, and welcome to the Vaporworks lab. Got a new mech mod to take a look at today. Comes from Timesvape and the EDC Modder. It's the SideKick Sidefire mech. Did a live stream on this one, which was kind of a first impressions, first look kind of deal, and had a feature to it that I actually completely missed, which is a locking feature. Had no idea that it was there, and really, in my opinion, if I don't even know a locking feature is present right off the bat, it's probably a decent one, because that means it doesn't get in my way at all. I don't like locking features on mechanical mods. I know a lot of people are like, they really need to be there for safety and this and that, and I don't like them. To me, they just get in my way. Let me handle the safety on the mech and keep a locking feature out of my way. But there is one, other than this one, that I actually do like, and that's the one for the Tarn Max. It didn't get in my way. It worked, and it did not affect the switch at all. Something like the heavy hitter or the horrible one for the Dreamer clutch just make me not really like those mechs at all. I don't hardly ever use the heavy hitter, and I never use the Dreamer clutch because that locking mechanism on it is so horrible. It gets in my way, the switch shifts, and then now all of a sudden I can't fire it. Can't stand that at all. This one has a very good locking feature that does not get in your way, but we'll get to that here in just a minute. So what we're going to do is the usual jazz. We'll dive on over, take a look at all the ins and outs to this, show you how the sidefire bar works. We'll take the bottom off here, show you how all of that works, including the locking feature that I had no idea was there. Then we'll come back up, vape on it. I'll tell you guys what I think. So let's go ahead and dive on over. All right, this is the package that your SideKick Sidefire mech from Timesvape and the EDC Modder comes in. I love this. I love when mech mods come in hard plastic cases, and the EDC Modder is just already kind of known for his packaging. You had the backpack type of deal with the Ampere 21. I loved that, and I really dig this. Not much to the inside of it. Just kind of foam lining. Underneath this, and this is how I missed the locking feature, you will find this right here. It's actually a user manual. I thought it was a sticker just by looking at it. Can't see with my dang camera here, but inside this, definitely take a look. It will tell you about the locking feature to this mech mod. You also get an extra O-ring. I got a few of them, but I think it just comes with one, maybe two. These right here are thicker O-rings for kind of, I keep calling it the switch, but really it's just the battery release. It will come with the thinner O-ring pre-installed. I'm going to highly, highly recommend you switch to the thicker one. I know other reviewers like Bogan said they liked the thinner one, and you may like the thinner one too, but to me, the thicker one is the way to go, hands down. All right, let's move this out of our way. Actually, give me the little one so I can show you guys why I don't like it. All right, and here is the SideKick Sidefire mech mod. I absolutely love the look of this thing. The pattern to it is just fan-fucking-tastic. Under the fire bar, you've got kind of that engraving pattern. He actually sent me kind of a CAD workup of this with the fire bar initially, and it didn't have anything underneath. And I was kind of like, oh man, I really dig the designs to the clip that is on the Ampere 21, that deal. Love that. Then he ended up sending me another one that had it on there underneath the fire bar, and I thought that's absolutely gorgeous. I love this. On the top here says SideKick by Timesvape, the EDC Modder. On the bottom here, you've got this, which is kind of a tensioner, but it's also, in a way, sort of what locks in the locking mechanism from working. Take this off. The inside is Delrin lined. You can see your contact here for your fire bar. It's got a nice curve to it, so it makes contact with this right here. Now, this extra space over here is kind of how that locking feature works. But first, take a look. This right here will come all the way off. This is a tensioner. All of this is peak. In the live stream, I kept calling it Delrin, and I think the EDC Modder was ready to choke me. So there's your battery contact, just a solid piece of copper. You got 2 screws where you can take those off if you need to clean your contact. I was a little worried about it being peak. You know, as far as threading goes, like, is this going to be easily strippable? Am I going to ruin my mech mod after a while just by trying to tighten this down a little too quick or something like that? But if you can see there, it's big threads. It kind of reminds me of the big threads for the Ampere 21 and just kind of the threading that's popular in the manufacturing out of the Philippines, which I dig, even though this is not made in the Philippines. But they went with those thicker threads, and I love that. I haven't had any problems, and I don't really foresee anybody stripping this out, having those threads. They're just buttery smooth. You just lay it down in there, and it fits almost perfect, and then just start to turn. And Bob's your uncle. So don't worry about that part. All right, here is the O-ring. This is the thicker one. Let me grab some tweezers here. Now, nice, smooth, kind of tight. I dig that. We take this all the way off of here. Get this one off. And then we're going to go ahead and put the smaller one. This is a thinner O-ring. There we go. So this is what will come pre-installed on this. Okay. Different. It's just loose. Now, once it has a battery in here, that tightens up. It's easier to kind of get this off. But overall, I'm just not a fan of it. It's just too loose, in my opinion. And it just kind of rattles. I don't like the feel of it. It just feels, I don't know. It just feels loose. Even with the battery in it. It does, like I said, tighten up some. But it's too loose. When you go to take it off, it just kind of feels flimsy. It does come off extremely quick. Whereas with the thicker one, you know, it's a little more friction to it. But just in overall feel, the thicker O-ring, in my opinion, is easily the way to go. But essentially what happened is he wanted the thicker one, and Timesvape put the thin one on there. I guess he got a prototype or something like that. And he ended up telling him, keep the thin one, but put the one that I wanted in the package, and then that way people can decide which one they like better. But I gotta say, I like the thicker one a lot better. All right, let's take a look at the locking feature to this. Actually, I'm gonna throw an atomizer on here and then throw a battery on because that's really what you need for the locking feature to become apparent. Okay, so put your switch back on. You'll tighten down your tensioner. I love that they have this because if you're a Molicel battery fan, you already know Molicels are a teeny bit shorter than Samsung. So this lets you kind of tension it up there. All right, so what I thought initially was with that tight, I can't take it all the way off because it won't turn anymore. I thought this was just kind of an annoyance. I was like, well, I got to undo the tensioner. Then I can turn it the rest of the way. But it's actually intentional. So you just turn it. It'll stop right about there. And it's locked. It won't fire. It's just your fire bar is hitting that peak. Turn it back. And you'll notice the little fire symbol. If it's underneath the fire bar there, it's ready to fire. So yeah, it's a locking feature I actually kind of dig because, like I said, it doesn't get in my way. It's pretty easy to activate, set it down, not worry about it. So yeah, it's a locking feature I actually like. Pop battery back out. Like I said, all copper here. Love the build of this. This is another thing with this. The build quality on this is extremely good. But we'll get more into that here in just a minute. All right. Go ahead, put slightly beefier battery back in this. So that is pretty much it. You can take the screws off in the package. You also get an Allen key for taking these off, or these down here if you want to clean your copper contact. If you want to see this all disassembled and what it looks like, this bottom screw here actually removes the contact right there completely, so you can clean it as well. Dig that. But go check out the live stream if you want to see this completely taken off. I'm not going to do it here. All right. So yeah, pretty much it. Very, very well made. Here is the copper version of it. I don't have the brass. I'm not a big brass fan anyway. So yeah, copper one is absolutely gorgeous. It's 30 millimeters on the top. It looks like it's a bit more, but that's kind of sloped. I guess you might be able to try and put a 31 millimeter atomizer if you had it. But I would assume you're going to get a little gap from that slope right there. So yeah, definitely built for 30 millimeter atomizers. 28 look absolutely gorgeous on it. I even put a 25 on it and it does not look terrible. So yeah. All right, let's go ahead, jump back up top. We will vape on this and I'll tell you guys what I think. All right, back up top with the SideKick Sidefire mod from Timesvape and the EDC Modder. Drip a little bit in here and we will have a vape. I absolutely love this mechanical mod. I think it's gorgeous, especially this two-tone. I think it's the best looking one out of the three, but the copper is absolutely beautiful as well. The brass one looks great. I saw a picture that somebody had where they had the brass one and the brass Asgard 30 millimeter on top, and it looks spectacular. So you really can't go wrong with any of them. It's a sidefire mech, and normally I'm not big on sidefire mechanical mods. There are a few that I absolutely love, the Chaos from Silvercraft Creations being one of those. But a lot of them kind of have that skinny little bar. They're kind of, I don't know, they're almost tight. Like you got to really put some grip behind it to get it to fire. Even if the throw is short on it, just the bar being as kind of tense as it is, you do really kind of have to put some grip to it. This is not the case at all. It has that wide sidefire bar, which I absolutely love. You can just kind of grab it like that and get it. You don't have to have your fingertips necessarily on it. But also, it's easy to fire. You don't have to put a lot of pressure. The throw on it is kind of between medium and short. Some people might actually think it's short, but for me, it's kind of between medium and short. But there's just not a lot of pressure. You just kind of barely touch it and it's ready to fire. So I dig that about this. Designs on it, I love the locking feature to it. While I will never use it because I just don't use locking features. Basically for me, I'm either going to have it in my hand or immediately in my vicinity if I'm using it. So there's not much point in a locking mechanism. If I'm going to walk away from it or go use another mod, I'll take the battery out of it completely. So I just don't use locking features. But if you're somebody that's like, well, let me throw this in my pocket or in my bag, having that locking feature is definitely cool. And this one, like I said, doesn't get in your way. So it just works. It's easy. Bob's your uncle. And it doesn't affect the throw to this at all, like so many locking features do, or not so much the throw, but just the overall firing of it. It doesn't prevent you from doing it when you're supposed to have it undone. and it doesn't kind of lock when you don't want it to. It just kind of works. And I dig that, especially for people that like locking features. Just not something I'll use. A couple of people asked me, does it hit as hard as the Ampere 21? And I'm going to say no, it doesn't. But I think that really comes down more to materials quality. The Ampere 21 was built from very, very high grade materials. Not to say that this isn't good materials, but not quite on par with what EDC Mods did with the Ampere 21. As far as going with Timesvape, some people were like, why pair with Timesvape when you already have EDC Mods? I'm pretty sure the thought process was he wanted to be able to design a mech that more people could get their hands on. So he needed to go with more of a mass-produced, manufactured mech mod. And honestly, if he was going to go with a Chinese company, I think Timesvape was the best choice. I love the Keen. I love the Dreamer 1.5. The Dreamer Clutch sucks, but pretty much everything else they've done has been extremely good. And this is easily, hands down, the best mech mod Timesvape has ever made. It's hefty, even without a battery or the atomizer on top. It's very, very thick. I dig that. It's durable, and it works. It works extremely well. Like I said, it hits hard. It fires up right away. So, yeah, I think Timesvape just absolutely knocked it out of the park. I think a big part of that, too, is probably the EDC Modder on their ass, so to speak. Like, this has to be right, this has to be right, this has to be right. And just with that collaboration, they built an absolutely amazing mechanical mod. So, yeah, if you're wondering cons, because I've pretty much just spit out a whole bunch of pros to this thing, and you're wondering about cons, I don't really have any. I've tried to find some, tried to be nitpicky about this, but yeah, no. I almost kind of wish a 30mm went flush, where you've got that kind of little bit of slope. I would have liked to have seen a 30mm just come completely flush with it, but that's me really trying to find something to nitpick about, so this doesn't just seem like an ad as opposed to an actual review. But yeah, one of my favorite mechanical mods that I own easily. Pretty much, again, the EDC Modder has knocked it out of the park. I think just about everything he's touched I've really liked, if not all of it. Drift Gen 1 I loved, had a little bit of caveats with some things. Drift Gen 2, absolutely amazing. Ampere 21, hands down my favorite mechanical mod ever made. And then this one is right up there. Is it my favorite sidefire mechanical mod ever? I don't know. I really, really love the Chaos from Silvercraft Creations. But I dig this one too. I really do. All right, guys, that's pretty much it. I definitely think if you're in the market for a mechanical mod, you dig sidefire mechs, and a locking mechanism is important to you, even if it's not. Remember, it's not going to get in your way. It's not going to fuck anything up. It's pretty much one of the best locking features I've ever seen. So yeah, if you're in the market for a new mech mod, you like sidefires, and you're curious about what the EDC Modder has done next, check out the SideKick Sidefire Mech from Timesvape and the EDC Modder. That's it, guys. I'm out of here. Vape on, and I'll catch you all in the next one.